I want to start today's video by personally apologizing to Joel. You see, in many of my videos, I've talked about how easy Helldivers is, and how I've gotten used to it and I'd like a little bit more difficulty, like a difficulty 11, 12, 15, and I'd like some new units. And today Joel said, bet, you want more difficulty? Well, here you go. Here are stalkers who don't turn invisible, but spawn en masse and flank you. Oh, you don't like hunters? How about hunters that can jump and turn invisible and knock you down and spit bile? So my fellow Helldivers, I personally apologize because Joel saw me complaining and said, you know what? Here you go. Here's the difficulty. And it is difficult. But it is not too difficult to overcome, Helldivers. We can beat this challenge together. So, if you're going up against the new Predator strain and you need a little bit of tips and tricks and need to know what to bring, this is the video for you. I've tested a bunch of different weapons and I think I have the perfect solution for what we're dealing with. Now keep in mind, of course, playstyles will vary and people will have different preferences, and honestly the number one tip if you walk away with nothing else, the thing that's going to keep you alive is don't get separated from your team. The days of being able to solo maps by yourself are behind us with this patch. Get a battle buddy and stick with them or you're going to lose your head, literally. The MVP of this match is the double-edged sickle. This thing can fire so long and so fast, and I know that we've seen some nerfs, and I know a lot of people were skeptical with nerfs that it was no longer good. It is still good, it will still do the job, and you can wipe entire patrols of these new Predator strain Terminids with the sickle alone. However, if you don't feel like wearing the flame-resistant armor, which is basically mandatory with the double edge, there are a few good alternatives on these maps. Anything with a good AoE or a good stun is going to serve you well, so bringing the Halt, the Arc Blitzer, the Crossbow, or the Eruptor. But I typically don't recommend the Crossbow or the Eruptor, which I know is shocking. I always talk about how much I love the Crossbow, just because they get so in your face so fast and there's so many. Having that extra stun time on like the Halt is really going to be key to stunning these guys down, so that someone else can come in and sweep them off if you're working with a battle buddy system. As for stratagems, kind of like most Terminids, there's a lot of different versatility and different stratagems you can use, but these are the ones that I found that really work effectively, specifically for the new Terminids. The flamethrower melts these wannabe stalkers so fast, but it does have a short range, so it's kind of a double-edged sword, so to speak, right? You're gonna have to get up close to them, and if you do, you're going to melt them, but if you don't get them, you're going down. Which is why I recommend pairing that specifically with the jump pack, because you need to be able to get away and get away quickly. It allows you to jump in and jump out. It is the perfect combination flamethrower and jump pack, and if you're wearing the flame resistant armor for the flamethrower, you can bring the double-edged sickle and you will be an absolute monster. I'm finishing these matches with 600, 700, 800 kills and taking down a lot of these wannabe stalkers. I have heard people say that wearing dog breath is super effective on these maps. I don't know about that. If you want to use gas, I would suggest gas grenades or the gas strike, simply because you need your backpack either for the jetpack to get away, or you're going to be carrying a heavy gun to take down the big things. I just don't know that I'd give up that backpack slot because you still have to get fairly close to them. And again, once these guys close the distance, they are going to absolutely destroy you. So I don't like to risk it with getting that close with just the backpack. I know I recently made a video about stink diving and how great it is. I don't think I'd be stink diving against this particular strain of bug. The machine gun and the heavy machine gun both rip and tear super fierce. And again, lots of bullets and lots of violence is recommended here, so it is a perfect pairing up against these new guys. Usually I recommend turning the RPM down so you can save your bullets a nice steady tempo. However, with these swarms, I recommend kick that RPM up and rip and tear through the ranks. If you can, I super recommend heavy armor, especially again if you're going to get up and close with the flamethrower, simply because you're going to be taking a lot of hits, and that heavy armor can be the difference between life and death. I know some people swear by Democracy Protects. We have done a video previously on that and found that heavy armor more reliably keeps you alive for longer, so equip that heavy armor, get in there with a flamethrower, and melt some faces. Now, I have seen some people using the heavy mounted machine gun, the HMG. However, I don't recommend using that here regularly. Usually outside of these planets, I love it, I recommend it, it's great fun. However, again, with that increased aggressiveness, stealth, and how fast they move and the packs that they come in, it's so easy to get overwhelmed that if your positioning is bad, or you call it in bad, or you flub any part of that, you're going to lose access to it so quickly and not get back to it, so better not to risk it. You're better off bringing something like the Eagle Gatling Strike, or the Eagle Napalm so you can take out large swarms of them at a time without having to worry about long cooldowns. And if you're one of the patriots who supported the most recent war bond, that ultimatum, as always, absolutely destroys bugs, it destroys their home, it destroys their holes, it destroys their patrols, it destroys every last fiber of their being, so grab that ultimatum, it is great fun. So my most successful runs look like this: wearing heavy flame resistant armor, bringing the new sickle, the new ultimatum, and then some thermite grenades for taking out the heavies. And then my 4 stratagem slots, I have a flamethrower, I have the jump jet jetpack, orbital napalm barrage, can't leave home without it, and the Eagle strafing run, which is not one that I usually bring, but they do seem to crawl in a line, so if you can line that up perfectly and the jump jet will help you get into that position to line it up, you can take out quite a bit, and there's so many uses for it and it's so fast that I actually highly recommend it. The only downside to this build is that you cannot solo bug holes, and usually that's where, again, I talk about the crossbow. I almost always bring it because I want to be able to solo those bug holes. I am not soloing with all these dudes running amok. It's just not happening. I'm sticking with my battle buddies and we're working as a unit, which is what I've always wanted to see in the game. Again, it's increased the difficulty in a fun way. It is a new challenge, and sure, within a week or two, people will really get down and get a feel for it and get better. But as it stands now, it's really forcing people to play together, and that feels great. Just a side note here, people always talk about the mailman from Fallout New Vegas, how it's like, oh, that's the worst mailman job ever, he got shot in the head. Meanwhile, I'm delivering this hard drive right here, I'm surrounded by bugs, I'm getting puked on, the sky is literally falling, there's fire everywhere, I'm carrying a small handmade nuke in my backpack, like, this is a way worse mail delivery job. Look at the battlefield right now. I would much rather be in Fallout New Vegas right now. Back on topic, there is a spike in difficulty, but this isn't something that needs to be nerfed. There's no need to call for nerfs. We will figure this out and we will overcome the challenge. And this appears to be a lot like the Jet Brigade, where it's only sometimes going to be in effect. I don't think this is going to be a long-term permanent thing on every single planet. So we will adapt, we will adjust to. Remember, it's only been out for a day now. So of course, people are going to be losing missions, and that's fun. I know it sounds weird, but it is fun to have that challenge back in the game. I think a lot of Helldivers got complacent that, okay, well, I figured this out, we've conquered the squids, we know how to deal with them, so nothing's new, so I can go back to soloing the game. Well, this is going to force you to change it up, and honestly, that's what the Jet Brigade should do. That's what this new Predator Brigade should do. It should change up the way that you play, should make you reevaluate your tactics, and worst case scenario, if you truly don't enjoy it, well, you can go to a different front and fight the Terminus without it, or you can go fight the bots or the squids. So as always, options are good, and this gives us more options for difficulty and more options for how we want to adjust our playstyles. As always, we've come to the part of the video where it's your turn to tell me which unit is more terrifying. Do you hate fighting the stalkers that can't turn invisible but spawn in great numbers? Or do you hate the invisible hunters? Which one is worse? Tell me in the comments down below, and as always, have a blessed day.